Malo and welcome to Season 2, Episode 29 of Breakfast Bites by TEIVOVODigital.com. A wrap of Pasifika Peoples sports on this beautiful Friday morning, 29 July 2022. Coming to you from the 180th meridian in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And we start with the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, England. The Rugby 7 starts at 9 p.m. tonight with the women's competition seeing Australia versus South Africa, Fiji versus Scotland, England versus Sri Lanka, New Zealand versus Canada, and then into the men's comp with Australia versus Jamaica, Kenya versus Uganda, New Zealand versus Sri Lanka, England versus Samoa, South Africa versus Malaysia, Scotland men against Tonga, Canada versus Wales, and the last game of the first session, Fiji versus Zambia. And then at tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m., Fiji women are up against South Africa, Australia versus Scotland, New Zealand versus Sri Lanka, Canada versus England, and then the men are back on again with Kenya taking on Jamaica, Australia versus Uganda, England versus Sri Lanka, New Zealand versus Samoa, Scotland versus Malaysia, South Africa versus Tonga, Wales versus Zambia, and the final game of day one, Fiji against Canada. In the NRL, Papua New Guinea Kumul James Segeyaro made his NRL return off the bench for Manly last night, but they were beaten by the Roosters 20-10. The 31-year-old hooker has played over 150 NRL games since his debut in 2011, and he could represent Papua New Guinea at this year's Rugby League World Cup. Meanwhile, wily old Wayne Bennett has been dealt another blow with Sam Burgess rejecting an offer to join the Dolphins as his assistant coach. A report in the Sydney Morning Herald claims Burgess will instead link up with South Sydney for 2023. And in football, German superstar and captain Alexandra Popp scored twice to propel her team past France 2-1 and into the finals of the Women's Euro 2022 at Wembley Stadium this weekend against the England Lionesses in what's been dubbed as the Battle of Britain. And what a clash that will be. Place your bets, ladies. And finally in boxing, the undercard for Usyk versus Joshua 2 in Jeddah on 20th August features Ramila Ali versus Crystal Garcia-Nova, the first female boxers to fight in an international event in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Go girls, go. For TEIVOVODigital.com, I'm Kaldan Kamea. Malo, Vina'a, and thank you. Please hit the subscribe button below if you'd like to receive more Pasifika sports highlights on Breakfast Bites. And thank you, Tumas, for all your support.